I came to Hancock County in December of '93 as CEO of Central Indiana Power. I moved in from another part of the state, so I didn't know anybody around here at all. And after the first year in January, I got a call from some lady named Nancy King. And I didn't know who she was, but she wanted to come out and talk to me. So that was fine. So we sent an appointment. She came out, I think, Thursday of that week to come and talk to me. And I wasn't real sure what it was all about, but she came out and introduced herself, very personable lady. And she was actually wanting to set up the schedule for the 4-H Fair Queen contest and pageant. And I thought, well, that's nice, but what's it got to do with me, you know? And she said, well, you're sponsoring it. I said, oh, well, that's news to me. Nobody told me about that. So we sat down and worked out the dates, which is no big deal because the fair was whatever date it was, just worked backwards and came out and got all those dates done and everything. And then she wanted to know a little bit about me, where I came from and all this kind of stuff and back from her. And so I told her I came down from Jay County, Indiana. I was up there for about 5 or 6 years and involved in a lot of different organizations. And one of them was Leadership Jay County. I was president of that and helped get that thing going. And she said, well, that's very nice. And she came from, I believe she said Scott County, where she'd been involved in a lot of organizations, and one of them was the leadership organization there. And she thought that was a good organization, and she really liked it and thought well of it. And so we both had good experiences with it and everything. And at some point in there, she says, let's start one here. And in a weak moment, I said, okay. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but we did it. We started it. And I said, the problem is I don't know a lot of people in the county because I just got here. I just blew into town a month or so, 6 weeks before, and I didn't know anybody. She said, that's all right. She says, I know everybody. So she did, apparently. So she says, I'll get some things going. So she arranged a lunch meeting with Bobby Keene and Tom Miller up at Shoney's Restaurant up on 9. And I thought that was a good idea because there's food involved with that. So we met up there and had a very good meeting, and we just kind of pitched the idea to him, what's going on, and naturally, you know, Bobby within leadership background thought it was a great idea, and so did Tom. So they said they would work with us and help there, and they said they'll put together a group of people, list of interested people that might want to help with this. And I said, that's great. So, and that's basically what they did. And so we had, I think there was 18 people that actually came to what's now known as 9 Star out here, because that's a merger between Central Indiana Power and Hancock Rural Telephone Corp that happened in 2011. But this time it's Central Indiana Power. So I had a meeting out here, and of 18 people that showed up, 16 of them said, they all said it was a good idea, they'd work with it, but 2 of them said, I just don't have time to do it. In fact, they all pretty much said they don't have time to work with it. But 16 people ended up staying with the organization, forming a board of directors, and we got the ball rolling. The early board members, like I said, there was about 18 and showed up, and 16 really worked with us, and 2 just truly didn't have the time to do it, I guess. And those first board members, of course, were Nancy King and Tom Miller, Bobby Keene, Judy Christ, Bill Riggs, Steve Vale, Karen Blue and Linda Bond, Marsha Parker, Gene Bueller, Tim Ron, Debbie Kloss, Gary Newman, Mike Burrow, and me. And there's probably a couple other people, but my memory it's too long ago and I just don't recall them, so I apologize to anybody if I missed your name on that. But we formed a steering committee because we weren't even organized. We just need to get together and see what we're going to do. So we formed a steering committee to just lay out a plan for all this. And we even talked to leadership organizations from other counties, brought them in and talked to them. So we had kind of a format, kind of what they're doing and so forth. And I had my experiences and Nancy had hers. So we kind of put together a plan, and first thing I have to do is legally incorporate. So we had Karen Blue and Mike Burrow develop the 501c3 designation for us. So we got that going. And then several board members took on different days. After we had the days lined out for the year, the program, I think there was like 10 meetings. And one board member, I like this topic, so I'll be in charge of that day. Another one took this one. So we worked all through that. And then they got the ball rolling on that. When we were confident of our plan and everything going on, we started, I said we went public. I don't know, public not in the sense of a corporation or anything, but just with the news of it. Press releases and put out an application. We devised an application, put it out there, and so we started that first class. And there was a lot of work going on behind the scenes, but it was very successful. When we organized, we had this group of 18 people, and we had to just get organized, see what's going on, and laid out a plan for the year. Actually, we had laid out a plan for the whole organization. As I said, we had our legal designation as 501c3, and I suppose in there, my memory's a little foggy, but I guess we developed bylaws and that kind of thing. I don't have them with me, or it's been too long since I've seen them, but had that. And we just wanted to make a leadership organization that would be effective for Hancock County, that people could go through in any one year and do something meaningful for the county and gain a lot of skills for themselves that they could use in their everyday life. So that's what it was kind of built around, that type of thing. Okay? So, like I said, we developed that 501c3 and all that. We also had the Cranfield and Company, who's doing work for the cooperative at that time. They're a marketing firm out of Indianapolis. When they heard about it, they volunteered to develop the logo and pins and that kind of thing, so we could use that. So that was done free, and we gave them credit at the appropriate time and so forth. But we launched that first class, and it's all kind of history since that time. We wanted to develop a strong organization that would persist through the years and serve the needs of the county and develop some skills in the people that attended. Talking about group projects and what the board's feelings was on that, I think it was, we talked with other leadership organizations around the state, several of them. I don't remember exactly how many, but it was common then that they had group projects. And so we thought, well, that's kind of the way to go maybe. Plus it fostered development between the participants. They got to know each other, because people in these classes really probably didn't know each other very well. And so if you're doing things independently, you're not really getting to know everybody else. And you don't learn how to work in teams and all different kinds of things. So anyway, we decided to go with the projects. And I think at first we gave them some ideas. We didn't have a list to pick from these 5 projects you got to have, as I recall. We had some general ideas, and if somebody else in the team had a better idea or one that sounded like that'd be neat, that's fine. We just wanted to go through the process, because it's hard to get people to do things if they're not interested in their project. But if they got some kind of passion for it, they'll do a lot better job. So we did that, and some of the ones that come to mind that of those first few years was a study for a civic center, feasibility study for a civic center in the county. And with all the planning that's going on now and the growth that's happening, that's probably appropriate. Another one was a program called Breakfast Buddies at the middle school here in Greenfield, where people, I don't know if it's parents, but people come in and have breakfast with some of the middle schoolers before school ever started. I don't remember if it was a couple times a week or once a week, whatever the schedule was, and got to work with them and give them encouragement, see how their day's going, that kind of thing. Give encouragement to the kids, and that went on for quite a while, I know. Another one that I know still out there is the Hancock County flag design. That came out of one of the projects at Leadership Hancock County, and you'll see that flag around, and one of the big proponents, big users of it now, is the Community Foundation. They give those out, and they promote that quite a bit. One that kind of caught my eye that I thought was unique, they called it MOB, M-O-B, which was monitors on buses. So they put a little camera in the buses to kind of keep an eye on the kids in the back while school buses while they're going along. Now, with new technology, I don't know how that's working today. And another very important one that went on for several years was adult daycare. And it was like I don't know the right term, but adults that needed care during the day would be taken to the facilities at the Lutheran Church south on 9 and would be there for the day while the adult children, presumably, would be at work, would be doing whatever they had to be doing, and then they'd bring their loved one back home for the evening. It's kind of like kindergarten for older people. And they had programs, wasn't just sitting around. They had things to do and fed them and all kinds of things. From what I understand, they really enjoyed that. So that was, one of the ones that went on for several years. And another project was acquiring defibrillators for certain public vehicles, because defibrillators are just kind of getting started then. But they're very expensive. So one group devised a project around acquiring those for certain public vehicles. The original board that worked with leadership Hancock County is involved with a lot of exceptional people, and they're all exceptional because they wanted to do this. But two that stands out is Nancy King. She was a person with the Purdue Extension Center. I don't know exact title, but she was in foods and, of course, the Queen Contest, all kinds of things. And she was really a force. She was very adamant about making this the best it can be. And she became ill, and she worked with it. Even through her illness, she worked with leadership. And then she passed in May of 2010, and we greatly miss her. But she was into cooking, if you know Nancy. Some people don't, and you've missed somebody if you didn't know Nancy. She was into cooking quite a bit. And she would say that you can read all about some recipe, some dish. You can read about it, see pictures, hear people say, oh, that was great and all that. But until you've actually baked it and made it, you haven't really experienced it. And same way about leadership. You can read articles, see little movies, and do all kinds of things, hear lectures and all that. But until you've really been involved, you really haven't experienced leadership. Sadly, we lost Bobby Keene in December of 22. He was an excellent CEO at the hospital. He was good for the county, Hancock County, and leadership Hancock County. And we'll truly miss him in all we do. But for the future leadership Hancock County, there's a transition. We had that original board, and over time, the years, that first board tended to stay on there for a couple years to get things going. And then eventually somebody had to drop off, and we brought somebody else on. And naturally now it's altogether different, all new people, but that's part of it. And a lot of them, board members, are people that have gone through leadership Hancock County, which is great. So it's perpetuating like that, and it's evolving. Certain days maybe didn't, or kind of lost their significance, and they add something else, and that's good. We can't be static all the time. So we want the people to be involved with it, become self-aware, I guess you might say, of themselves, learn new relationships, meet new people, establish some priorities. They learn that from doing the projects. Not that they wouldn't know it anyway, but this kind of puts it all in one package, I guess you might say. So we sincerely hope that leadership Hancock County continues to grow and thrive and develop and be stronger than ever in the county to make Hancock County a greater place in which to live.